Episode 4 of the Roll Stable podcast coming at you. Thanks everyone for listening or watching on YouTube. We've already had 3 episodes drop, which you can check out on UCMathletics.com, the UCM Athletics mobile app, SoundCloud, and Spotify. And, of course, the Roll Stable video podcast for each episode also up on the UCM Athletics YouTube page. Pretty light in terms of news in the last week, so we're going to jump right into the interview. This should be a fun one. Not only is today's guest our youngest that we've had so far, she's also a Johnson County native from Knob Noster, Missouri. We have Jessica Sater. Jess, I thought about doing your full at-bat intro, that I like to do, but I decided against that. I think I need to save that just for game days.
Just for game day, special occasions only.
Yeah, that's right. How you doing, Jess?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm okay. What can you tell us about Jennies Softball in the last couple weeks? What's new there?
So a lot of us actually got quarantined at the end of September, end of August. Actually, honestly, up until the past 2 weeks, we haven't really had a whole team. So it's been kind of crazy. For a while, there were only like 2 girls practicing, so that was pretty interesting.
How does that work with 2 girls practicing?
It was basically just individuals. They were getting a lot of reps, and they got pretty in shape. So when the rest of us came back, we were huffing and puffing a little bit.
And those 2 were just light years ahead of
They
everyone.
were light years ahead. They were just making circles around us. But no, basically all of us are back. We just started team practices last week, and we started this new thing where we do inter-squad scrimmages, and every time that something good happens, like we get points individually, since it's not like 2 teams split up. We don't really have enough girls for that yet. So it's just a way to keep each other motivated. So that's exciting. Always trying to get on the leaderboard. So that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I've seen the coaches put that out on social media, the leaders, and I just was curious about what that really means. So it says, hitting leaders,
Right.
Jess Sater, so-and-so and so-and-so. So what
Yeah,
are you the leader of?
So every time we go up to bat, we get like 2 or 3 at-bats of practice when we go live. And like a single is worth so many points, double so many, RBI, home run, that type of thing. And then the catchers get points for different things that they do. So blocks that don't advance a runner, and then pitchers get points as well. So we're all kind of in our own categories, but competing against each other at the same time.
Are the 2 split squad teams, do they change, or are they the same teams throughout the whole kind of fall?
No, they switch up a lot because we try and get looks off of all of our different pitchers. So we have like multiple different teams. So like we'll have 3 different sets of defenses and 3 different sets of hitters. So we'll just go around like that until we all get enough looks off our old pitchers.
And so how about even before you got back to campus, what was your summer like in late spring?
So very boring. I'm not really type of person just to sit in the house all day. I get way too bored. So my family was actually remodeling a house. So because we were moving into this house, and so I worked a lot on that. We actually did it all ourselves. So I was like Chip and Joanna Gaines out there hammering a nail on this new house, so that was fun.
Is that going to be a new career path for you? Like
No.
construction and building houses? Or
Probably
interior
not.
design?
Basically, everything I did, my dad literally had to go around behind me and fix it because nothing was right. But I was keeping myself busy.
Where is the new house? Is it still in Knob Noster?
Yeah, it's actually on the same land that our house is on right now, so we moved like a couple hundred yards, like to the north.
So it sounds like you're a pretty big piece of property then, if you're able to build a whole new house on the same land.
It's pretty big. I taught myself how to golf this summer out there, so I've been taking that up. Still not very good, but...
Have you been able to get out to Pirtle or the country club?
Yeah, I've been out to the country club. My sister actually is a manager there, so I sneak out there quite a bit, and I do a few holes. It's kind of ugly, but I got a cardboard box full of golf balls that I carry around. I use them all.
Is your game getting any better?
I still don't really know how to drive it. Every time I try to swing like a softball, and it's just hideous, so I really just no good at that.
So you don't think you're going to become a dual sport athlete with softball and golf?
No.
We're
Not in any of the near future.
Softball.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So at the end of 2020, you were playing. You started out 11-6, a pretty good start for softball, and then really everything just stopped.
Right.
What were your thoughts and the team thoughts as the season really just came to an end?
So we had a pretty solid squad last year. So we were really excited for like MIAA play, and to not get to do that was really disappointing.
Did we play 2 or maybe 4 games of conference season?
We played 4 MIAA games. I think we were 3-1. I think that's what it was. And So we were really excited for that. We thought that we had a pretty good chance in the MIAA this year because everyone was kind of down, and everyone had a lot of young teams, including ourselves. So we thought that it was really anybody's league at that point.
And then I know for you personally, you played in a lot of games, but you're still dealing with some injuries. You want to talk about that and how you're doing now?
Yeah, so I had some rib dysfunction during the season.
Dysfunction?
It was dysfunction.
So how are the ribs normally supposed to function, and how were yours functioning?
So usually they're supposed to, stay where they're at. Mine were just not doing that. It got to the point where, like, our trainers were trying to pop my ribs back in, like, in between innings.
Wow.
Just because I was in a lot of pain and couldn't really breathe. So basically every time I swung a bat, like, they'd come out.
Right,
so.
I can imagine that would be pretty hard on your ribs.
Yeah, probably not the best situation, but I was able to play through it for a lot of the time, and so it just kind of stunk that season got cut short early, but honestly, maybe a blessing in disguise, gave me some more time to rest and recover a little bit. So. And
you're back to 100% now. You're playing and everything in the fall scrimmages.
Yeah,
and
practicing.
Obviously, you're golfing, so that's even more swings. So
yeah.
I hope that your ribs are okay.
Yeah, I would hope so, too. I'd hope I wouldn't be out there popping them out every time. But, yeah, I'm doing a lot better.
So going back a year even, freshman year, you started from day one. Is that something you expected? Were you surprised at, you were able to come in and start right away at third base?
So it was honestly kind of surprising, yeah, considering in high school I played shortstop, and travel ball I played outfield, so I really had never been at third base before. So starting day one as a freshman, terrifying, yes, but also really surprising just because I never thought that I'd be in that position, and it was just, I don't know if you'd say, like, luck or chance, but I think it was just a good opportunity for me to get out there and so that I could learn the ropes, because we lost a lot of seniors after my freshman year, so I was one of the only returners in the infield sophomore year, so it gave me, like, a leadership role, I guess, last year, knowing how coach likes things done in the infield and just helping everyone out, all the freshmen.
Well, I mean, you came in and you produced right away. You played in, I think, just about every game. You hit, 381 I have down here. You were all MIAA at third base. Was there maybe a point during the season when you were like, okay, I can really do this. I'm comfortable now?
So I think I had, like, some kind of hitting streak going into mid-MIAA season, and I was like, I didn't even realize it was happening, honestly, until I lost it. And it came out in the article. It was like, oh, Jessica Sater's hitting streak ended. I was like, well, I didn't even know that was going on. So maybe, like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. So, yeah.
And one thing about Jennies Softball, especially this upcoming year, as I was kind of going through the roster, is just how young this team is. And there's no one that's listed as a senior. Everyone will have at least 2 more years of eligibility. Some might decide to graduate early because they had that kind of COVID type year. Only 9 have, including yourself, you're one of those 9, have played a full season at UCM, and only 3 have played 2 full seasons. So what's it like having such a young group?
So our sophomores right now, they really didn't get the whole experience as freshmen, so it's almost like they're in their second freshman year. So we've got 2 classes of freshmen right now almost, and so it's just really weird to think about, like, I'm an upperclassman now, even though I've played, like a season and a half. So it's just
really not even a whole half a season.
No,
17
not even
games is not a half a season.
Yeah, so it's just weird. Everyone's young, though. Everyone's going through it, and so we know that everyone's in the same boat as us so that we can compete with them. It'll be equal playing field.
And has anyone, coaches, maybe talked to you specifically, or maybe kind of your class, about having to kind of be leaders now, even though you've only played in 60 games maybe?
Yeah, so coach has talked to us because she knows, like, how we came in as freshmen. Like, we didn't really talk very much. My class specifically, there were 7 of us coming in, which was a pretty big freshman class. And so she was like, where these freshmen have been, like, just help them, like, tell them where to be, tell them where to go, that type of thing, help them out, just because not everyone knows what's going on.
So you mentioned your class had 7 freshmen. I know this class, I think, has at least 5, maybe 6 freshmen, so another, large class of newcomers. What does that say about the future of Jennies Softball this year, next year, and the year after?
So we have 4 freshmen and 2 transfers now, so I think in the years to come, like, they'll just develop more, and the longer we spend in the program, because now all of us get like 5 years total. So we're all going to be in the program a really long time, and so I think that by my senior year, by my super senior year, I think we'll be really developed and have some good team chemistry just from getting that extra year to play with each other.
So now you're like I said, looked at kind of as a leader now. When you were a freshman, was there anyone that kind of took you under their wing and showed you the ropes?
My freshman year, I was really blessed with a really fun senior class. So there was Coop, Krabby, JJ, Shelby, Taylor, Peyton. Like, those were all, like, they all played a lot. Like, they got a lot of time throughout their 4 years. And so they were all really good leaders for me. We got really close with them as well. So not just only on the field, but on the field, we're all really close. And so it made our freshman class feel like just part of the team, first thing.
Was there anybody in particular that you kind of stuck to, or was it more of just kind of like the group overall?
Yeah, I got really close with Coop and Shelby. We were homies, and they made sure that, like, I knew what was going on at all times and that we were all just big family.
All right, so I want to talk about your recruiting process. Obviously, you're from Knob, so you must have known about Central Missouri for a long time. Did you always know you wanted to come here? Were there other schools you were looking at? What was that like?
So for me, it was kind of a unique situation because I didn't really know if I wanted to play softball in college or not, because I was pretty good at throwing the javelin in high school. So I went on a lot of visits looking around there.
I remember talking to Coach Anderson saying she had a girl coming in that was a softball player, but she's also good at javelin. I didn't realize that was you.
Yeah, that was me. So I was pretty good at that. I went on a lot of visits, so I actually was pretty close to committing to Mizzou for javelin. And it was kind of weird for me because I had 3 girls on my travel team, Bree Murray, Taylor Nickel, and Mackenzie Cooper, that were all coming here, already committed. So this was going into my senior year. And so I was like, I might as well just shoot them an email, like, just because, like, I know they're going to be at the games, watching them all, and I ended up working out like that.
Was there ever a chance of you playing softball elsewhere?
I mean, yeah, I looked other places. I had always enjoyed softball. Like, softball was always, like, my favorite sport, and javelin was kind of tough on my body, so I figured softball was probably the best way to go.
More tough than popping out ribs and being put in place between innings?
Yeah, I can only imagine what my body would be like right now if I stuck with javelin for that long.
Do you like being this close to home? Was that something you always kind of wanted to do?
I mean, not really, no. And honestly, I probably don't go home as much as I could. Like, it's kind of a funny situation. Like, I'll be shopping in Walmart, and, like, I'll see my cousin or my mom and my dad in Walmart. They're like, Jess, hey, forget you're right here this close, because this is the Walmart I've literally been going to since forever. And it's just kind of crazy to think about how far away some people are and how, like, if they had an emergency, like, their parents couldn't be there. So it's pretty convenient for me, like, to go home and, like, eat dinner if I wanted to, but I don't really go home that often. So
you have more family here than just, your immediate family?
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of family around here.
And so you've been in Warrensburg a lot. Did you play travel ball or high school ball at Jennies Field? Or
no.
South Rec Complex?
See, that's why it's kind of funny, because I played on a travel team in Kansas out of Olathe. So UCM came and watched me in Colorado and, like, tournaments in Kansas City. Like, it wasn't even like a recruiting thing for me being so close. It was just the fact that I had so many commits already on my travel team.
How did you end up in Kansas?
Well, there really weren't that many teams around here, so you just got to go where the good softball's at, I guess.
And how was that? Did you like that experience of going to Kansas, playing with those girls as opposed to? I
did. Honestly, the car rides were kind of fun by myself, just jamming all the way on 50 Highway, I-35. So it was kind of a peaceful time for me, and I made a lot of friends over there and just throughout the softball community over there.
You said you also threw the jab in high school. Were there other sports you played growing up?
Yeah, I played, honestly, every sport. When I was little, I played, like, volleyball and soccer, and then in high school I played softball in the fall, basketball in the winter, and I threw jab in the spring, so I kept myself pretty busy.
That's very interesting. Our first interview was with Eric Webb of baseball, similar age, similar sport, and he said he was really sport-specific and really only played baseball throughout high school. So do you think that getting that experience of playing other sports helped you out?
Yeah, I think so. I think that happens a lot with softball, baseball players. Like, they become really sport specific just because it's like a sport with a lot of different parts and you really have to spend a lot of time on it. So even myself, like, even though I was playing basketball in the winter and track in the spring, like, I still had softball practices, like, on the weekends, on Wednesday nights, so I'd have to go from one practice to the other. So it was pretty busy, but I liked being pretty busy back then, so.
So in any of the sports that you played, was there anyone that you kind of modeled yourself or anyone that you liked watching, whether it was a teammate, professional, college athlete?
Not really anyone specific, but I was always really close with the seniors. Like my freshman year and my sophomore year, I was really close with the upperclassmen. So I just looked up to them because they were really good leaders and still some of my best friends, like in high school. And honestly, the same thing has happened in college. I just look up to my teammates that are older than me because they know what's expected. They know how everything's run. So I just end up getting pretty close to them.
Do you ever find yourself kind of watching, Women's College World Series games and kind of studying maybe the infielders or anything like that?
Yeah, I really like watching NCAA softball, especially in high school. Like Sis Bates from Washington, like she was just an animal of a player. Like she just had the quickest hands, and I just think it's really fun watching her play. So maybe her.
So you mentioned you learned golf over the summer.
Yeah.
Do you have any other hobbies outside of softball when things can kind of settle down? What do you kind of like to do to relax and chill out a little bit?
So my family likes to go camping a lot. Like we just bought a new camper, so we like going like to Colorado or like Wyoming, South Dakota, that type of thing, going camping. We go to the beach every year. I love the beach, big beach fan. Honestly, anything outside, like in the sun. Got to get my vitamin D, stay tan. That's kind of my thing.
What beach do you guys go to?
We go to Orange Beach in Alabama or Gulf Shores.
So you really take that thing far.
Yeah, little hike. But I like it down there. It's really peaceful, and it's like lots of families down there, so it's not too crazy in the summer times.
What would have been some of your favorite family trips in the camper? What states in particular do you like?
We've been to Yellowstone. That was really fun. And then we like going to Colorado a lot. My dad's obsessed with Colorado. I swear once he retires, we'll be moving out there, and then who knows where I'm going to end up because I'll be farthest away from my family I've ever been. So it'll be interesting, like, to see where everyone ends up. But that's it, honestly.
Hopefully they don't move away while you're still playing and then can't come and watch your games.
I swear, if my parents lived in Alaska, they'd probably come to every game. They're a pretty good support system. They're honestly obsessed with watching me and my siblings play. There's 4 of us, and they've always been really involved in our extracurriculars.
Where are you in terms of age?
I'm the third kid. So my sister's the oldest. She's 31 and has a nephew, my little best friend. And then my brother just graduated college, University of the Ozarks. He played tennis. And then there's me, and then my little sister is a freshman this year, and she plays all the sports as well. So.
She's a freshman in high school?
In high school, yeah.
Who's the best athlete in the family?
I'm biased, but I'd say myself. Well, we're all different in our own things, honestly. My older sister, she was, like, mean and tough, so, like, she was good at, like, basketball. And my brother, he's fast, and he runs a lot. He can literally run, like, 6 miles at a time, so he's really good at tennis. Me, I was kind of, like, pretty decent at everything, but, like, not, like, super stand out at one thing in particular. And then my little sister, she's a really good wrestler, which is a fun fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of older sister who was able to beat you up and toughen you up.
Oh, tough love for sure. Tough love.
Kind of on the, whether it's wrestling or on the basketball court.
Yeah, her and my brother used to put me in a laundry basket when I was little and, like, push me down the stairs and, like, see how far, like, I can make it without, like, tumbling down into the cushions that they set at the bottom. So I've been kind of roughed out my whole life by my older siblings, but it's been a good time.
Do you have goals for yourself, for the team, for, this season, the rest of your UCM career?
Right, so our goal is always to win MIAA, and I'd like to do that at least before I graduate. I think that'd be really fun because I don't think it's been done since the World Series team, 2015. So I just think that would be one of our goals for sure. Personally, I just want to be able to help my team out, like, whatever it is. Like, I don't have to be hitting home runs. Like, just getting on base, playing, just making a difference, I guess.
But a home run would be nice every now and then.
Home run every once in a while wouldn't hurt.
But it's still pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
And what about in school? You're, I believe, is it a dietetics major?
Dietetics, yes. So, honestly,
what does your future hold there?
Really not for sure yet, honestly. I thought about doing a lot of different things. Like, I came in thinking that I was going to be pre-dental, like something, I guess, in the medical field. And now I think I might go to chiropractor school after I get my master's in nutrition so that I could be kind of well-rounded in that aspect.
Do you have any coaching aspirations? Is that something that you think you'd be good at?
I think I'd be a decent coach. At our summer camps, when I get to coach teams, I really thrive off of that. So sometimes I think I'd be able to do that. But also I don't know if I could go too young because I don't really have a good, like, baby voice. I don't know how to say that, but, like, a good way of talking to, like, little kids. I'm better with, like, more developed players, I guess. So maybe, like, a high school coach. If I win the lottery, I'll do that.
I don't think you need to win the lottery to be a high school coach.
I mean, because I wouldn't really want to be a teacher. Because I'm not really good. I can show people how to do things, but I just can't really tell them how. So
I guess
might
a lot
be a
of
problem.
high school coaches are also teachers
Right,
in the same
yeah,
school.
yeah.
That plays a part in it.
Yeah.
Speaking of coaches, your coach, Susan Anderson, it took me a little while to realize that she's the only female head coach at UCM. What are your thoughts on that? Is that something you think about at all? Or?
I honestly didn't realize that either until not too long ago. I think that's really cool, honestly, that she's the only female head coach, but also at the same time, that's kind of sad that we don't have any more female head coaches here. I think that's something that would be good for our university to see what they can do about that. And I don't think we even have that many female assistants, honestly. So I think it's a big deal for her. I know a lot of coaches at MIAA are also guys as well. So it's just kind of a big deal. It's really special that we get to be coached by her. Very blessed. She's a great coach. We have great coaching staff.
Yeah, I think when I was kind of going through in my head about all the MIAA softball coaches, it was kind of an even mix between men and women head coaches. And your coaching staff overall, it's kind of in flux right now after Coach Sig or Coach Curtis went back to Texas. What can you tell us about your coaches? Who do you really click with? Who do you get along with? Maybe the differences in their personalities? Yeah,
so I really like all of our coaches. All of our coaches are really different as well. We don't really have an assistant coach right now, but we have 2 volunteer assistants, Terry Kinconen and Debbie Kinconen, husband and wife. That's a pretty fun dynamic that we have out there. Terry's really vocal, and he's just really smart, and he knows a lot about softball. Like, he had daughters growing up playing softball, so he's been around the game a really long time.
I think their daughter now is at Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah, Macy is. But it's really exciting to have him out there. I think Terry brings a lot of energy to our team. Coach is a really good coach as well. She's been around the game for a long time. She played here, third base, All-American, so she's been over in my corner a lot, talking to me about how she wants things done at third base. And then Shannon, our GA, love her. She's closer to our age, so she relates to us on that aspect. So she's just, like, fresh out. She came from Tulsa, University of Tulsa. So she's really fun to be around as well. I think that they all bring different things to the table, and I really love playing for this coaching staff.
And Shannon being a second-year GA, I guess, helps, in that transition before you get your assistant coach. I'm assuming that her first year, this time last year, she was much quieter. Now she kind of knows the ropes and is able to help out a lot more. Yeah, Coach had helped her out a lot my sophomore year, but now she kind of is on her own with the infield, and she runs a lot of the drills herself, and Coach can, like, bounce back and forth because now Shannon knows, like, how Coach likes things done and that type of thing. Do you feel any pressure playing third base for a UCM Hall of Fame third baseman? A little bit, yeah, for sure. She's always standing over there. She likes things done a very specific way because she knows that if we do it this way, like, we're going to be successful. And so you just have to keep that in mind, like, when she's reminding you every single ball, like, how she wants things done. But she's really great. She really knows what she's talking about, and she's, like, our second mom, honestly. She's really good with, like, family type of stuff as well. So it's just really nice to have her over there, yeah. So speaking of Coach Anderson being a part of the UCM Hall of Fame, it's also, I don't know if she's mentioned this to you guys, 50 years this upcoming spring of Jennies Softball. What does that mean to you to be kind of a part of that legacy? That's really special as well because we have an opportunity to, like, make our name for ourselves, like, in our 50th year. It's really special. We'll get, like, a lot of I don't want to say, like, maybe, like, press, I guess, because last year when Jennies basketball was their 50th year as well, I think. Volleyball and basketball, 50 years. Yeah, so
they got a lot of attention for that, and I think that'll be good for us, like, to be under the spotlight, I guess, for once. And so we have a big alumni event in the spring as well, celebrating the 50th year, so that'll be a lot of fun as well.
Has Coach talked to you a lot about this being 50 years? And obviously you mentioned the alumni event, but any plans or anything for that?
No, not that I've heard, really.
It's really just kind of business as usual for right now?
Yeah, business as usual. She considers, like, every year, like, the most important year that we're going to have, so you just have to look at it that way.
One day, one kind of play at a time, one at bat at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, personally, I know you still have a lot of time left, but what would you like your legacy to be? What would you like to be remembered for at UCM?
I want to be remembered for being a good leader and just being a good teammate, having fun on the field. I like to have a lot of fun while I'm playing, and not to take things too seriously, but also get my work done. I'm more of like a lead by example. I'm not really that much of a vocal leader, I guess. But yeah, so I'd say that.
Are you a talker out on the field? Are you always chatting?
I have to be. Our freshman year, me and the rest of my freshman class was kind of mute, and the seniors really got on to us about that. So we've really had to learn to be really vocal, and last year I kind of stepped into that role more, being one of the only returners. So just had to be really vocal lately, and yeah.
Why do you think that was, that your class was kind of quiet on the field at first?
Well, our upperclassmen my freshman year were really intimidating just because they had been around so long. They were all super close. Like, we have a really tight-knit team, and then coming into that, it's kind of odd at first, and you don't really know how things are run. You're kind of thrown right into the fire almost, and so you just have to figure out, like, how you're going to fit in. And so now that we know what is expected of us, where the ball's supposed to go at all times, like, we're able to be more vocal.
Is that easier for you now, having done it for a couple of years?
Yeah, I would say so.
Is that something were you more vocal in high school and on travel teams?
Honestly, no, not really. I've really never been like that kind of vocal leader, but now that was one of my weaknesses coming in, and Coach has made that one of my strengths, I'd say, is being vocal.
And kind of going hand in hand with being vocal, I don't want to say controversial topic in softball, is the chanting in dugouts. Where do you stand on that? Are you a chanter? Do you like them? Do you not like them?
I mean, it depends on the chant. I'm not really there for the chants that are like harassment to the other teams, but I think, like, to rile up our team, like, that's what we got to do sometimes, just get everyone fired up and involved.
I like them. I know there's a lot of people in, either my profession or kind of older people who don't like it, but I like that it's just something different and brings something different to the game.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone at least involved in the game, it seems like.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting quietly in the dugout as someone's taking their bat. You're either up against the fence or you're just more active, kind of.
Yeah, I played for some old school coaches, and they're like, oh, those rowdy kids, like, over there in the corner. But it's just our way of getting fired up and involved in the game. This
is something I always wondered, is how you come up with them. Is that just something you guys do, like, on the bus or in practice?
It comes from, like...
It can't just be in the moment because everyone knows it.
No, I mean, we all come from, like, different teams. And, like I said, like, there were 4 of us from the same travel team. So, like, we had some stuff that we did with them that, like, we brought. And you honestly just kind of have to learn them as you go. We don't really have, like, team practices, like, for the chants and everything. But you just got to kind of figure it out. That was another thing that I had to adjust to freshman year. I was like, what is all of this chanting and poems that we're reading out loud to other teams? It was kind of funny.
So in addition to having to memorize all the signs that you have, you need to memorize chants as well.
Yeah, a lot of mental game in softball here.
Jess, it's been awesome time hanging out with you as always. Thanks for coming out and joining the show. Any final words?
I have no final words for you, Joe.
Where can people follow you?
Follow me on Twitter, Jessica Sater 10, Instagram @Jessica Sater, Snapchat. I probably shouldn't get that out, but that's basically it.
All right, for Jessica Sater, producer Tony Manzo, thanks for checking out the Roll Stable podcast.